generating Fireground tempo. First off, obviously I want to thank y'all for coming out. Pretty humbled that you guys would show up to listen to me talk and babble for a little while. I want to reiterate that even though I work for Austin, Texas, I work in South Austin, I'm not here representing Austin. I'm here just a guy trying to start a conversation and see where you guys, where your heads are at, and see what kind of back and forth we can have about making us better and hopefully more efficient on the Fireground. All right? Yeah, I'm not up here because I'm great at my job. I'm up here because I'm passionate about it and I love what I do. So, where did this idea come from? First and foremost, 2013, I happened to be able to travel to Philly to go to Leadership Under Fire Conference. If you happen to follow Jason Breslor or the guys from Leadership Under Fire, you know they got a pretty good thing going on, right? They're comparing or trying to get comparisons between the battleground and what we do on the Fireground. Obviously, we're not getting shot at most of the time, but there are a lot of things that we can do or come up with or ways to operate our crews that are very similar, right? Both in training and in the real thing. So I listened to Jason talk one time, and he was talking about, he was in Fallujah. He's a Marine, by the way, 17 years retired. He was in Fallujah. They're making their way down the road. They're in their Humvee. Gunner up top. They're going down the road. Bunch of kids off on the side of the road. Little kid, maybe he says, maybe 8 years old, comes out of nowhere, hucks a grenade at their Humvee. Gunner turns and is about ready to blow this kid down. Doesn't do anything. The grenade didn't blow up, and they took off down the road. They get back to base, and Jason says, "Hey man," he's in charge. He says, "Hey man, why didn't you shoot the kid? Threw a freaking grenade at us." And I knew what you would have wanted. How much time did that take? Instantaneously. Made that decision based on what their officer wanted, what their company wanted, what they knew was the right thing politically in and amongst the world. You shoot a kid, now all hell's going to break loose, right? They got lucky it didn't blow up, obviously, but it's that thing. I knew what you would have wanted. So that's one thing I want to get out. There's got to be expectations as we go forward, both of me and my officer and me. I had a trauma run on my first job just north of Seattle, Washington. Fairly new EMT. We run into a call. It's attempted suicide. We go in, the lady's in the bathroom. Husband is sitting on the edge of the bathtub, blood smeared all over the bathtub. Not really any pools of blood. Husband says, "This is the worst I've ever seen." Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm brand new, right? I go in, I'm looking at her. She's got a gash, a good 4 inches long, however deep. She is pale as can be, not registering in my brain. I'm like, man, she's got a cut on her arm. I got to bandage it, right? So I start bandaging it. This lady's talking to us. "Hey, did you try to kill yourself?" "No, I didn't try to kill myself." Cool, whatever. Got her whole medical history. She went from talking to us to fighting us to death in a matter of however long it took for her to die. So kind of, even though that was medical, I want to be able to take us into the Fireground and say, "Hey, this is what I got, this is where it's going, and I know that because X, Y, or Z, and this is what we're going to do to stop it." Okay? Last thing, Emerson Ghost and Road Fire. This is one of my first fires. Ended up being crappy. I'll tell you, one of the first lessons I learned is anybody with this amount of junk in their front yard probably has twice or 3 times as much in their house. Okay, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I was, take this. This guy was 2 months out of our academy. I was maybe a year, 2-man staffing at a resident fire station a stone's throw from where this basically barn was burning. I was driving because I was the most senior guy. He wasn't allowed to drive it. He was sitting in the officer's seat. I'm driving, giving a size up, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Notice I bring this up and why I want to talk about it, even just in terms of where this came from, was mostly, hey man, a lot of things went wrong here. I got out and I said, "Hey, we got a heavy smoke and fire showing from A side." I like A side meaning I have no idea what's going on right now. We pulled the 2.5, which, amen, right? Although we were putting a bunch of water on smoke and we didn't know where the fire was, and a bunch of things could have gone differently. So taking from that fire forward and everything I've learned since, I want to pass that on. I want to have a conversation about how can we get better? How can we do things a little bit differently? If it starts raining, you guys want to come cuddle up here, we can do that as well. So obviously the fire went from bad to worse, and eventually this burnt down. Why is it a big deal to me? Because somebody, even though this is a bunch of trash, all this stuff all around their house, it's just somebody's livelihood. That's how they made their job. This guy took things apart, put things back together, welded, did this, did that. Probably didn't make a whole lot of money, but that was their livelihood. And we just let it burn to the ground. Could we have saved it? Man, I'm going to go ahead and say we could have. Do I know that? No, absolutely I don't. So I'll probably remember that one until the day I'm done fighting fire. And I'll probably even remember it from there on after. How do we define it? What does it look like? Are we playing on an even playing field? And how do we create it or generate it? Think about those things as we go along. We're not necessarily going to touch each one of them, but there should be questions going through your brain. How do we define it? What's tempo? Anybody?
Speed. Pace.
Speed? Pace?
Rhythm.
Rhythm. I like that. I like that. Rhythm. Okay? Moving in such a way, this is just a random definition that I pulled out of my butt when I was putting this thing together. Moving in such a way or rate to get ahead of your opponent using your strengths against their weaknesses. Think about sports, right? NFL, they playing Monday through Friday. They're playing for that team. They're playing on Sunday. Man, this is what we do really well, and this is what they are really crappy at. Same for us, right? The only difference is I don't know what they're crappy at because I don't know what building it's burning in. Okay, or multiple acts occurring simultaneously to achieve a common goal. So when we step off the unit, if our basic plan is to say, you know, if Dusty's in charge of me and he says, hey man, we're going to work, and he goes off and disappears, cool. But I should know that I'm pulling a line, I'm throwing a ladder, whatever it is, whatever unit we happen to be on that day, we should have a basic play, lines are getting pulled, and a bunch of crap's happening all at the same time to put that fire out. If we wait and say, hey man, I need a line of play, okay. Hey man, we got the rack line in place. All right. Hey, now I need a ladder thrown. Okay. Hey, now I need a hole cut in the roof. If we have to do each one of those one after the other, it's going to be really hard to get ahead of the fire, right? Where does this come from? Expectations. So there's three things, and there's probably a lot more that I think that tempo comes from. Okay, and I think one is expectations. Now, this obviously is our now VP, Brad Mason. Okay, this was him giving a class, forceful entry class, probably one of the best I've taken. And that's no bullshit. I'm not saying that just because Brad's sitting right over there and he just agreed to come on and be my punching bag for the next however long. But he sat there and he said, hey man, these are my expectations. This is what I expect out of you as a student. And then he said, this is what you can expect out of me. I'm going to do X, I'm going to do Y, and I'm going to do Z, and I'm not leaving here until you feel comfortable with a set of irons in your hand, with a halogen in your hand, that you understand the mechanical advantage. I think that's huge. As a company officer, or driver, or senior management, or firefighter, or whatever, should you not say that this is what I expect out of you? You set that bar up there and you let them come up to it, and even better yet, I'm going to set the bar here, and this is my plan to get you there. Pretty cool. Okay, another good friend, Chris Warren. What I want you to picture is, let's say this is a six-man crew. Awesome. We now all just now been ordained in the FDNY. Okay. Chris Moore's setting up his expectations for us to say, hey guys, this is what we got going on for the day. We're gonna, whatever, we're gonna go do some pub ed, we're gonna go fight some fire, whatever. These are the things that we got going on for the day. And maybe they even say, hey, you know, I haven't worked with, let's pick on this guy right there. Let's just say, man, you're brand new. I don't know that you know anything about the job or what you're doing, but this is what you're gonna do today, and you're gonna be on my hip and you're gonna learn a lot. Okay? Basic expectations. Okay, it doesn't have to be huge. Set them up for the day, set them up for the week, set them up for the month. But I think if we can set expectations both as an officer, as a driver, as a senior guy on the people around you, and as all these young guys, because all these, at one point, a year ago, were all in the academy. Okay? Class 117, second best class ever graduated in City of Austin. Those expectations should be going from the ground up. I should have expectations of my boss. And it shouldn't be because I'm a young go-getter that I'm like, man, we don't fucking train ever. Obviously, I want to train and we should be training all the time. But my expectation is, man, I want you to teach me everything that's in your brain, and I'm going to keep asking you questions until you don't have an answer. And then I'm going to keep asking because you don't have an answer. That's the way we should be doing it. Okay? I want to get the conversation started. This conversation happened to be at a bar, actually in a cigar shop, Portland, Oregon, at the Firemanship Conference this last winter. And I will tell you, just like probably is what's going to happen as soon as I'm done yapping, okay, we're going to solve all the problems of the fire service. We're going to solve all the problems in the world around a table very much like this one. But what I think is cool is there's maybe two people talking and a whole lot of people listening. And that's what should happen. Fast forward that to being in your own firehouse, around the beanery table, around the dinner table. Someone's talking, we all should be listening. Whatever they're yapping about, I don't care if they're talking about their wife, their kid, their husband, girlfriend, whatever it is, we all should be listening, because getting to know people and getting to know what makes them tick, whether they work for the same department or a different one, is part of what makes us better and also what makes us unique. mission statements. Again, same conference. Doesn't mean anything. I just happen to like what theirs was. Okay, first world fools are important in the crafting a culture of leadership from the bottom up. What is it? It's a bunch of words on a piece of paper. But what I think is really cool is that's their goal. That's what they want to achieve. And that's much like what I want to achieve with the fools. I want to have a vision statement and a mission statement. Mostly because I want to be able to look back in 6 months or a year. Have we really achieved that? Here's my mission. This is how we're going to get there. And over a period of time, we're going to look back. Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Right? So take that to an on-scene size up. This is what I got. This is where it's going. This is what we're going to do to kick it in the ass. Man, that didn't really work out. Let's reevaluate. Let's try that again. Here's my new plan. Here's my new set of expectations. And we're going to get there. Right? Same thing. How about this one? Okay, it doesn't mean anything. It just happens to be the back of my shirt. But what if I told you that Engine 17 A Shift is the best engine company in the city of Austin? Kyle would probably tell me I'm full of shit because he works on A Shift and he's on 24s. Okay? But what if I told you that was our mission statement? That was our goal. Our goal is to be the best goddamn engine company in the city of Austin. Should it not be? It absolutely should be. Should 36s not be the best truck company in the city? Right? And I'm not saying that has to be your mission statement. Whatever it is, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you read all the mission statements, vision statements for departments and companies and all these things. It should mean something. It shouldn't just be something on a piece of paper for the public to read and be like, whoa, that's so nice. That's awesome. Right? We're providing this service. No, but it should be something that we can look at, hey, this is what I want to be. We might not be there right now. Engine 17 may not be right now. But can we set something on paper and say, this is where we're going to be in 6 months? And if we're not, how are we going to fix that? But those expectations, that mission statement is on all of us. If we all ride right here, right now, if we all ride in the same, let's call it the same station, because there's too many of us to fit in the back of Engine 17. Okay? But if our goal is to, hey man, we're going to be the best house in the city, best house in the county, best house in the state, we should be able to reevaluate that and come back to it. Culture in the fire service. So, just quickly, there's a lot of people saying, hey man, we got to be safe. Okay? Yeah, we got to be safe. There's a lot of people saying, well, we can't do this. We can't get on a roof. We can't go in that burning building, whatever, because it's not safe. Or, i.e., I can't let you do that because it's not safe. But is that, I guess, in a way, out there in society and fire service society, people are saying things. We can't do these things because it's not safe. We just shouldn't do it. We shouldn't get on a roof. I keep coming back to that one because that's a big one, right? This is what everybody talks about. Well, okay, so that's safety, but they're putting you first. And I'm going to tell you right now, whether you agree or disagree, or you like the class or dislike the class, I'm going to tell you that I don't come first. I'm not going to tell you where y'all come, but I know sure as hell I don't. That's the way I go to work every day. My job is to go do my job. My job is not to go home at the end of the shift. That's a great freaking goal, but it's not always possible. Culture and discipline. Now, Jason Breser at FDNY, that we already kind of talked about, he says, you know, hey, look, we need to be disciplined. We need to know what our job is. So if I'm on a backup team, we arrive second due in the city of Austin, because that's what we're probably going to do. We're going to show up, we're going to back up. My job is to get that hose line where it needs to be in order to put that fire out, right? It is not to say, man, they're taking a really long time, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and take the nozzles from me. Although that's what every single one of us wants to do. Hands down. Well, except for the truckies. I apologize for this. Anyway, but, see what I'm saying? Like, even if, you know, the engine company's inside and the truck company's about ready to vent the outside or the roof or whatever, that should not be done until that engine company says, hey, give me a hole. Punch the window. Turn the fan in. That fan can't go in if my crew's already gone inside. But that's a discipline in knowing what your job is. And knowing what your job is and having the discipline to do it right makes everything safer for everybody. How about the culture of extinguishing? We've all heard it, right? Ray's talked about it, Ray McCormick, Andy Furnick. If you put the fire out, it's safer for everybody there. So they're all tied together, at least as far as I'm concerned. But while we're talking about being safe, let's talk about how a house is done. This house is kind of like a metaphor, okay? Let's put the company officers in. I know we got at least, okay, a couple, right? So this house, it's a metaphor, right? For your crew or your particular firehouse, but you are now the contractor. You are in charge of making this happen. You're the contractor, the carpenter, whatever. You got to make it happen. But you have a brand new crew you just promoted, and you're now working at Station 46 in the city of Austin. I can only use it because we're about to open. Okay? So brand new officer, brand new driver, 2 new tailgates. Okay? But anytime we build a house, obviously we have to build a strong foundation. Now whatever that foundation is, that's up to you to decide. That's not up to me to decide. There's things that I think are really important that we need to be really good at a grassroots, at a very basic bottom level. But as a company officer, you're going to think on a bigger picture. And you might think, man, X, Y, or Z, I need them to be able to stretch hose and know something about their hose. Be able to throw a ladder no matter what situation they're in. And be able to force, let's say, 90% of the doors we come up. We got to have a process for getting there. And that starts right here with putting the concrete on the ground. And how about the walls? Maybe it's one step further. Maybe now we're saying, man, they've gotten so good since coming out of the academy. Now I want to be able to make them think. Oh my God, we're going to make a firefighter think. That could be trouble. Okay? But now it's to say, hey, look, while they're getting ready to force the door, they're throwing a ladder, like, hey man, what are you going to pump 300 feet of 3-inch to a ram? What? I'm throwing a ladder. Yeah, but I'm making you think. And it doesn't have to be that situation, but throw something at them. Make them think under stress. Make them come up with something that they weren't even ready for. And then think, man, that was kind of weird. That's not to be a jerk or a butthead or whatever. It's just to take them one step further so that this right here, they say when your adrenaline starts going, the first thing to go is your hearing. The next thing to go is your sight. And all I can see is this 2-inch space in front of me. And all I can see is myself running through a door. Well, okay, but what if now I can make you think? And we're going to get to some of this more here as we get towards the end of the class. But if I can start making you think, it's going to make your heart rate slow down. Right? It's like, man, this is way too stressful. I need to take a deep breath. Okay, well, lastly, all these things we're going to kind of cover in different places as we go through. But so let's just assume that this is a cut and stack roof. I can't tell, but I'm assuming it is, possibly. Okay, and you're an company officer, and you just say, hey man, I need that roof line put up. Now, hopefully you have a plan of how that's going to go up. But let's say Kyle Melton's your tailboard, and you walk around behind him, and you're pounding on them, you're pounding on them. Man, don't cut that one there. Nope, you got to draw it here. No, you got to cut it here. Okay, now, but I need 10 more like that, but don't cut it here. Okay, but now I need you to put it over here. It's kind of like micromanaging, right? And we've all dealt with a micromanager somewhere along our careers. Well, is that a terrible thing? It can be, and it can slow us down, right? But what's one thing that it doesn't give us? I would say it doesn't give us very much trust. If I'm following Kyle everywhere and saying, look, dude, I need you to cut this one. Okay, that's good. Okay, now do this one. Okay, good, now do this one. Not only does it slow me down and keep me from doing my job, but Kyle's not going to trust me. He's going to screw this dude. But it's also showing that I don't trust him. So if I say, hey, man, I need this house built. This is how I want it built. And this is basically my plan to help you get it done from the bottom up, building that foundation all the way through the roof line. We've now been able to establish hopefully a little bit of trust, and I've been able to read Kyle, go do your thing, dude. I know you got it. When I step off the engine at a fire, when I step off the truck at a fire, I say, hey man, we got VES in the back. We got a possible victim back room smoke pouring out. Kyle, you got it? Yeah, I got it. I'm going to grab so-and-so. All right? Let's trust each other a little bit. The biggest thing is you can't pour a foundation. And I know we're talking about trust. You can't put up a wall. You can't put up a roof. You can't do it without a team. It takes all of us, right? It can't just be one person saying, this is what I want, right? It has to be, I want this, but this is how we're going to do it. I need you guys to come along with me. If you put 4 alpha males or alpha personalities in a room together and say, I need this done, we're probably not coming out with this the first go-round. But when everybody gets on the same page and everybody, quote unquote, starts trusting each other and says, man, yeah, I kind of like the way you're doing things. I think we can build that house. This house doesn't get built. That big fire doesn't get put out. That career rescue doesn't get made without revisiting the basics. The foundation, the walls, the roof, and everything else. None of that happens. Baseball players hit off of tees, field ground balls, play catch with each other. Football players go out to practice with no pads on and practice the routes that they're going to run with nobody even around them. Why shouldn't we be doing something? Maybe not every day, right? We got a broader spectrum of things to take care of, but maybe we should. Okay? So before we get going too fast and how things are gonna work out for us, right? We're behind. What are some things that you guys think that would cause us to go I don't know, slower, I guess. We said speed is one thing, and tempo. All right, what's going to slow us down? What's going to keep us from being efficient?
Nothing showing from the outside.
Nothing showing from the outside. Okay, what else?
Not being ready by the time you show up to the fire.
Not being ready. What do you mean?
And like still putting off turnouts and messing with your gear.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Lack of preparation.
Lack of preparation. Okay. Okay. They're in there. What about just how well I know you? Let's say we've been working together 5 years, which would be a dream, right? Yeah, I'll back you up. Well, crew cohesion. The amount of time that we work together. Now, I know everybody works a different schedule. In Austin, we happen to work at 24/48. Okay? There's been studies that have been done, and I've talked to a couple different people now, and they say that whether it's a 3-person staffing or 4-person, they actually work together as a crew, as an entire crew, 50% of the time. So for me, I come to work about 10 shifts a month, 120 a year, not counting vacation or anything else. 50% of the time, I'm getting to know how Brad operates. Take that one step further. In the city of Austin, we have 5-person staffing. So we have 4 that are working, but we assign 5 to an engine or a truck or a rescue. Okay? And let's just say for 3 shifts in a row, all 5 people show up to work. That means 1 person gets detailed. So that's 1 less shift I get to work with Kyle. Next shift, let's say I get detailed on. There's another shift I don't get to work with Stacy. Okay? Next shift, someone else gets detailed on. There's 1 less shift I get to work with Ron. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not trying to bash my department. But I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of things, if we're not talking about things, if we're not going out and training all the time, we aren't spending very much time together, I guess is really what I'm trying to get at, which is against us, right? And we can talk about the obvious ones, right? How much time is it taking to put water on the fire? Was it in the middle of the night? Is their alarm system working properly? Did we get notified the way we're supposed to get notified? Weather, training experience, so on and so forth. There's a lot of things to think about that are slowing us down and not letting us move forward the way we want. So, not expecting fire. There should be a system that we're going through every day when we show up to work, when we're putting on our gear, when we're checking out the engine, the truck, whatever it is. And there's a lot of stuff that we're talking about as engine work. It just happens to be near and dear to my heart. So if I'm offending anybody or leave some truck stuff out, please let me know, and I'll be happy to talk a little bit about the truck. Not too much. Okay? But how about this one? So this could happen anywhere, but this happened in Austin, Texas. I was working some overtime, got the phone call late. I showed up, we started at noon. I showed up about 12:30, saw a buddy of mine. Hey man, what's going on? I haven't seen you since Academy. Great, cool. About 1 o'clock, man, I really got to get out and go check my stuff. Took too long to begin with. And one of the first things I noticed, I was kind of looking at the pre-connect, and I thought, man, that's weird. And it's not to bash these guys, because this literally could happen anywhere. Took the picture, of course, because it's going to go into class. And then I go in and talk to the guys. Hey, man, what's this? Oh, man, I don't know. A shift had a fire. This is B shift. This A shift had it. Okay, cool. Cool. And then another guy, right as I'm walking out of the room, man, but that was like 3 shifts ago. Or 2 shifts ago, or whatever they said. And it was at least a full span of shifts, 1.5 times through the whole cycle before this got noticed by somebody that doesn't work there. Now, I know that people say we don't fight that much fire. But the fire we do fight is just as hard to fight as the fire was 30 years ago, if not harder, and faster and hotter and all those things that are out there. So let that be a lesson. Whatever your system is, make it be a system. If you start, like I started going through my thing and constantly, hey man, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a couple days. Cool, yeah. Man, I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. Let me get through this. Right? Because I know for me, I get easily distracted, and something like this, I could miss. Just to throw it out there, we found it on engine 17 about 2 months ago. Or about a month ago. Same thing. Came in off of work. Hey man, what's going on? Oh, we caught a fire this morning. We forgot to, whatever they forgot to do. It happens. Don't knock them, but hold them accountable for sure. What does it look like? That tempo? What do you think? Yeah, no. Kyle's already seen this one time. He needs another beer. Yeah? No? I say so, right? That's our enemy right there. That'd be a lot of fun, personally. It's actually, right off probation in my first department, I didn't actually get to make the fire, but pagers all beeping, because I worked out in the county. I think it went to 2 alarms. A couple kids were playing around, wrote a couple matches, and flew this out of a really popular, really old building. in the city of Fireground. Okay, so that's tempo. So something that's working against us to do our job, and it could be anything. It could be the weather, it could be a car accident, a ravine, whatever it is, something working against us to do our job. How about this? I don't know if this is training or a real fire, but they kind of almost go hand in hand. What do you think? Is that tempo? Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, they could be training, but let's just go ahead and assume that they're going hand in hand, and maybe this building's a 3 or 4 story building. Obviously, they can stretch above the fire. Taking that time to set up stuff the way you want it, whether it's before the tones drop and making sure your hose and your ladders and your irons and all your tools are the way you want it, so that when you jump out, you're going to work and you know exactly how things are going to hang off of you, pull off of you, stretch, whatever. One of the first things I ask our probies when they come to Engine 17, I tell them, hey, man, what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do when you pull up to a fire today? Man, I'm going to grab that nozzle, I'm going to go put it out. Like, no, the first thing you're going to do is look at that fire. The second thing you're going to do is look at that building that you're walking into. The third thing you're going to do is look at the stretch that you're going to have to make to get there. Because I'm not doing it for you. I got 3 other things to do. Right? So all I'm trying to get them to do is slow down. Take that little bit of time. Take time to make time. Slow, smooth as fast. All that stuff. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the academy. There should be a goal for what our academy is. It should not be, here in the state of Texas, we have TCFP. Okay, Washington State, they have Washington State Patrol that does all their fire stuff. It's kind of odd, you got the cops ruling over all the fire stuff. But nonetheless, it's a bunch of certifications. If your goal is to say, man, all I need for a body to be on an engine or a truck is for them to have this piece of paper. That's great, but that's terrible at the same time, right? What we need is people that, I'm not expecting you to be Billy Badass when you step off first day on the engine, right? But what I am expecting is that you've gotten enough repetitions that you know that, hey, man, my nozzle's under pumped. It's not doing the right thing. I can stretch a basic line, right? We got some really messed up things out there in the world that we've seen like, man, that was a really screwy stretch. But they should be able to pull line. They should be able to throw ladders. They should be able to take a set of irons to a door themselves. And whatever else. There's a myriad of other skills, but those are 3 basic ones we come back to. Okay? We should be teaching them what we do matters and seconds count. But we need to give them the tools to do the right thing, to give them passion for the job. Whatever that is. This happens to be class 117. Again, the second best class that's ever graduated in the City of Austin Fire Academy. Okay, but this just happens to be, every time we had an LODD, we ran up the tower, we rang the bell. You know, this isn't a big part of the academy. It took 5 minutes maybe. We just taught them, hey, look, there are other people that are out there dying right now. Teach them that it's real, and then take them out there and teach them the skills. Like, hey, hopefully this is going to get you out of a sticky situation or keep you from getting it on. That's what our academy should be about. Okay, first day training. Let's see, Endicott. Your first day at 8's. Let's go. Where were you on probation? 40s?
Yeah.
What'd you do on your first day?
Look for an officer.
Say that again? You were looking for your officer. Okay. Was the ice cream carton still full when you found him?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Haddock? What about you? Well, you were in spec ops. When's the last time you had a rookie? Program.
Hold on. Transfer class.
Okay.
I had,
So 113.
Wallace and Sexton and Kim Garrett, they all kind of
Okay, so
signed up.
not too long ago, right? So, first day, first time you get a program, what'd you do with it? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, we're just having a
I was
conversation.
a driver, I didn't do shit.
Okay, you
I take it back now, the lieutenant talked to him, and then we went out and went over with him.
okay, good. So why not on our first day? That is your chance to figure out what they learned in the academy, and more importantly, that they know the basic skills, and even more importantly, that you have this set of, man, these are my pet peeves, and this is what I want everybody to know right now, right? Is that the best picture? Okay, great. Anyway, you should have this set of pet peeves, or these things that you want your probies to know, your rookies to know, so that when they get there, you're gonna go, hey man, I'm gonna give you all my lowdown. I'm gonna tell you, hey, these are my expectations, just like we talked about before. And now we're gonna go pull some line. Now we're gonna go throw some ladders. Hey man, we don't have any doors we can force, but let's go talk about a couple. Okay, whatever it is. I mean, whatever it is in your brain. You don't have to be the officer. You don't have to be the driver. You could be the senior firefighter. Hey, this is what I want you to know, and this is how you're gonna be successful here. This is how we're gonna work really well together because I'm in the back and I'm looking at you and I got your back. I need to know you have mine. You're gonna take it out and you're gonna go do this. It makes sense, right? They're a pro, they're a rookie, they're almost nothing. They're a step up from nothing because they just came out of the academy, right? I'm joking, Stanley, calm down. Okay, so, but what about that 15-year transfer? What about that somebody that, Brad, you get a new person coming to your station, but they've been on the job 10 years, right? And let's just say you don't know a whole lot about it. Oh man, they're a good guy, good gal, whatever. That's all you know. Do you go out and do the exact same thing? Me personally, I would say in a perfect world, that's what we would do. Now, in 20 years, when I finally decide to take that test to promote, and maybe I can decide if that's really what I'm going to do. But in a perfect world, that's what we're going to do. We need to have expectations of people. We need to take them out, and I need to tell you what I want you to know, and I'm going to show you what I want you to know, and I'm going to make sure that you do it. Okay? Continuing on, kind of same thing. So one of the best shifts that I've had in the city of Austin to this day, I was working in North Austin. I was probably on some overtime again. Seahawks were about to play. It was a Sunday. Yeah, Seahawks. Okay. And Austin says, hey man, we're going to go out and pull some hose. Okay, cool. Let's go pull some hose. We went out and pulled some 3-inch, yanked it off the back. Guy was listening to the radio, didn't pull it till the officer said, hey, I need some such and such at the back of this commercial structure. We went out to a strip center, talked about it a little bit, yanked it, loaded it back up, rotated, did it again, did it 3 or 4 times. Like, man, this is kind of cool. It's like fast-paced trim, getting a little bit of reps. Then all of a sudden we're flowing water. Now he starts quizzing people. The guy that's sitting on the nozzle, hey, what's he pumping to you? 90? Had no clue. He asked me, I don't know. Asked the guy that's pumping. Thank God he knew the right pressure at 140. But the key is he wasn't asking to be like, man, I can't believe you guys don't know this. He was asking them to say, I want to know what's in your brain, and I want you to know that that's important to you. And they do that all the time. I talk to these guys quite frequently, and they say, man, he says this all the time, and the cool thing is, it makes you start looking ahead. I really got to know this better. I really got to know that better. I got to know my territory. Whatever it is, I think that's pretty neat. We should be challenging each other. It shouldn't just be officer down. It can be tailboard to tailboard. It can be driver to tailboard, tailboard to driver. We should have that kind of relationship, at least before we're just messing it up. We will talk about this. So, this used to say, how does the New England Patriots run their offense or whatever? It was, some people got offended, so they went to team sports. It should be football, but if you watch college football and the Oregon Ducks several years ago, I'm not trying to talk all about West Coast stuff, but the Oregon Ducks, the Patriots have done it, several other teams have been really successful at running a no-huddle offense, right? Because their team, A, doesn't get a chance to get off the field and take a break and look at playbook after playbook or whatever the plays that have been going on. But they already know the plays they're going to call based on the schemes that they've seen. Hey, I'm going to run this play. I'm going to run that play. And that's exactly, I think, should be our goal. We can't always run a no-huddle offense, but we should have a basic scenario that when we show up on scene, Heath expects me to pull a rack line and go through the front door and put out the fire with his help, of course, right? Well, what happens when he needs to call an audible, right? You shouldn't have to be like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Hey man, why don't you grab the 2.5 instead? Hey, we're going around the rear, grab the 3, whatever it is, right? And also we have way too many types of hose, so I start saying all kinds of weird stuff you guys don't understand. Okay, but that should be our goal. And the other thing about sports is they can look on the schedule and say, this is who we're playing on Tuesday, this is who we're playing on Sunday. Obviously you've heard it before. I don't know when my next fire is. I will tell you that I went down to the academy to help teach. I got out in October and I still haven't fought a fire with my crew. That is garbage. I might have to transfer. I might. But are we ready? I want to say yes, we are, but I'm not going to know until I get that test. So we talked about micromanaging earlier, and is it a problem? Does it go? I mean, what do you guys think? So you make a vehicle rescue, and your boss says, "Hey, I want you to stick with me, kid, and tell every single move. I want you to cut here. No, not there. I want you to move this up here." Kind of a micromanager. Is that working against us?
Yes.
I would say on the surface it is. Anybody else? Yeah. So maybe it's not so bad if you have a new guy or a new gal and say, hey, what I want you to do is I'm going to get off, I'm going to go do my 360, I'm going to make sure the driver's going to do their thing, help the other tailboard grab all the tools. Hopefully that's a play that's already in the book, but if it's not, you just said it, you told them what you wanted to do, you get up there, tell the senior, hey, hold on real quick, I want them to get some experience as long as someone's life's not in danger, trying to get them out of this car. In this particular case, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think it may be. but then telling them what to do. So, but if you're at a fire and you have to tell them, hey, I want this hose line and I want it here. Okay, now I want it over there. Now I want the hose stream over there. If I'm having to focus on telling you how to do your job and how to paint, telling an artist how to draw their strokes, that's an issue. But I say there's a difference between telling them to do something to get them that experience rather than telling them to do it because, man, I'm insecure. And whether I'm insecure with you or insecure with me, if you're micromanaging, like a true micromanager, the crew might not even know. It's because they don't trust me, or it's because he doesn't trust himself or herself, or whatever.
Well, have you had that traveler working on that shift where you want to just say, hey, go watch the tire?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I use some other words, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's good. I like that. Okay. And then obviously the next thing is minimal commands, right? So whatever our playbook is, right? We know we're showing up first due on an engine company. We're probably stretching line. I'm going to go do something. My go-to is, man, I'm going to try to pull my pre-connect just, I don't know, because it's easy or whatever, or because I know how much fire to put out, how much gallons a minute is coming out. My boss knows that that's probably what I'm going to do. They're going to go do their 360. If I'm on the truck, depending on what my assignment is, I'm grabbing X, Y, or Z tools, and I'm going to work while, again, they're going to do their job. We should have that basic play that says, outside of having a brand new person or someone with very little experience, we should have that play that says, hey, when I step off, we're going to do this. If something's different, if I decide I want a different line, if I decide maybe, not me, I guess I'm not making those decisions, but if we're pulling around the rear or whatever, garden style apartment, hey, let's call it audible. Let's meet up in the front yard. Hey, we're doing this instead. Or get on the radio. You feel comfortable getting on the radio doing this. So the idea is that no huddle offense, so we can get off and go to work immediately. It's like, when they snap the ball in football, everyone's going to work. Same thing. Park and break sets, we're going to work.
Are you suggesting nobody's did was a smart ass
Well, I mean, I always appreciate it.
No, go ahead.
So, and then riding assignments. So I know on my engine, again, we happen to have 4-person staffing. I'm a big fan, and we've gotten our crew that on the engine anyway, that, if you're riding behind the officer, you're grabbing the pipe. The other person's backing them up, grabbing the plug or whatever. If you're on the truck, you're grabbing X, Y, or Z tools based on your assignment for that current run. I think it helps out. It gets people in the right mindset. I know that if I'm sitting behind the officer, it sets my mind right for the entire shift. I plan ahead, and I'm grabbing the pipe. I'm going to grab this nozzle. That's probably how I'm going to pull it. Okay, if I get this kind of a fence line, I'm going to have to do this kind of. It makes me feel better, all warm and cozy inside, because I can set myself up for success. Other people do things differently. They say, hey, whatever side the fire's on, we're good. As long as you trust each other, and as long as you have a plan, and everybody knows the plan, and everybody's good with the plan, there's nothing wrong with that at all. All right. So just real quick, another thing that I think is going to help us, there's so many people that say, oh, what's in your pockets? And it's been kind of the, not cliche, but thing that's been out there in the internet, what's in your pockets, what do you carry? We had a guy on my old job, we used to call him Toolbox Noel, and I swear to God, if you asked him for a kitchen sink, he would have pulled it out of his bunker pants. And it's great because he's really super handy and he's got all these things that can help you out. But at the same time, when the shit hits the fan, he's not going to need that kitchen sink, and he needs to get himself out, and he's weighed down by all this stuff. I'm not saying don't carry tools, right? This actually, I carry some slightly different things now. This picture was taken a couple of years ago. But figure it out. What do you need? You want a couple of door chocks? You want a couple carpenter's clamps to use as chocks, some webbing, whether it be for rescue, to carry a saw, to tie off some hose, whatever it is. Make it simple. Travel light. Travel right. And then you're just not carrying all that stuff around. But again, I'm not going to tell you what's right or what's wrong. And to get up on a soapbox like I do so many times, man, we should be wearing our PPE probably. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a fire with an officer or with somebody that wasn't wearing their hood or their hood wasn't up. And that's not just on them, that's on everybody watching them go into that fire. And I've watched them get burned. Not badly, it's not all doom and gloom, but I've watched people come away with burns and I'm like, man, am I the asshole because I didn't say something? Yeah, well, I say I'm one of them, but also the people that aren't even putting them on, so on and so forth. But our PPE is made for a reason, and it's made in the blood of those that have gone before us, right? They've either got burned, hurt badly, or died in the line of duty, and that's why our gear is made the way it is. Different departments have different specs, but NFPA keeps a pretty strict standard. So just keep that in mind. I won't spend too much time on this. I don't have anything to do with setting up our truck in terms of specking it out or our engine specking it out. I will say that I'm extremely jealous of San Marcos. Screw you, Dusty. But, you know, as you go through your careers or if you're talking to people that are on these committees or that have the ability to make these decisions, really harp on them. Whatever's on the truck, whatever's on the engine, not every engine needs to have 1,000 gallons of water in it. Not every engine needs to have 2,000 feet of 5-inch. Oh, no engine has that much 5-inch. But it should be spec'd out for your first Duke district. It should be spec'd out for the people that you serve. Absolutely. Again, it's not about me. It's about them. It's about the people that we're serving. So, yes, while I think it's awesome, and again, I'm not trying to bash my department. If anybody's watching this video later, you know, almost every single engine is exactly the same. I get it because when people travel, they don't have to think at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I think that's exactly what we do want. We want people to have to think, right? I think we're maybe possibly doing a little bit of a disservice by making everything standardized all across the board. Now let's start having a little bit of fun. Let's talk a little bit about opportunistic training. What color was the house? Blue?
Turquoise. Aqua.
Where was the garage? On the left. Was it sided the same as the rest of the house? Yeah? Stacy says yes. Okay. Is there anybody home?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What color is the trim?
White.
How many windows?
3.
Did Ryan tell you about this house?
There's 4 in the back.
That's good. I like that. This guy's seen the class. So that's not. I'm not up here trying to play games or have a trap school, but it's actually questions that I'd like people to ask me. Okay. Actually, we went to this house on an alarm activation. You know, fire alarm, whatever was going off. We showed up, had some bad smoke detectors. We put some new ones in. I stopped the tailboard, and I said, "Hey, man, how are you going to stretch to this house?" Right? And he says, "Man, I'm going right through that bush. Dude's this tall." Ryan's this tall. Okay, Ryan's this tall. He says, "I'm going through the bush. Truck company's going to come up. They're going to get that bush out of my way." I said, "Okay." I said, "Which way did the door open?" And when I say open, I just mean right to left or left to right. Because obviously most, not all, but most doors are going to open to the inside. Occasionally you'll find a random one that goes the other way and it really goes out. Okay, but the thing is, I want everybody to think about every house that we go into, whether it's a medical or whatever else, if that house is on fire, I should be sizing that building up. So from my station, my firehouse, to the time that e-brake is set, I'm thinking medical. They tell me it's a chest pain, I'm thinking everything that can cause this person to chest pain. When that e-brake sets, and if I'm not the person grabbing the bags, from the time it takes me to walk up the driveway or up the yard and into the house, that house is burning. I want to know everything about it. Where are the windows? Where are the bedrooms? Is there a kitchen? Where's my hallway? Okay. This house obviously happens to have a finished garage. Is that a problem? No. But if I don't notice it, it could be a problem. I could be leaving somebody out, right? I could be like, "Oh man, it's just a garage. There's not going to be anybody in the garage." Maybe there is. Or if there's fire blowing out of that window, I can say, "Hey, it's a finished garage. How the heck am I going to get back there?" Right? I don't know. This house could be all turned around on the inside. Other things, ask them. And so I asked all our rookies that, and I might say, "Hey, how long is the stretch from the curb to the front door?" 40 feet. Sure, okay. I'm not building a piano. I'm good with that. Okay. How many sections of hose are you going to need? 1. Or are we going to park right here where I was standing almost right on the tailboard when I took the picture? Right. So alarm activation, whatever. It could have been a medical and parked right in front of the house. But why not get our mind right? I think the tailboard was driving. Everything we go to, if I'm pulling up, let's set up like we're going to a fire. It's not always possible, right? But now, instead of that 30 feet or 50 feet, maybe I need 2 sections of hose to get to the front door. Still plenty of hose on the inside, right? But it's just, let's bounce those ideas off of each other. I would love somebody to be like, "Hey man, which way did the door turn off?" But test me, because I'll be, man. Or, hey, let's say we go to a medical person's in their bedroom, and you come out, "Hey man, how many bedrooms were there?" I don't know, right? But all those, getting my brain working, getting everything to slow down, the heart rate to come down, be able to pay attention a little bit more things when I actually do go over the fire. Things are going to be a little bit better. And this is easy training. This is stuff I can talk about with my crew all day long. We can have these conversations. We can go to the next one and be like, man, you get a fire on the second floor of this place. It's just, you think there's going to be a stairwell on the inside of that building. Now there could be. I'm not saying at all that there's not. But it's obviously pretty obvious that they have made this thing into an apartment, and I think there's at least 3 apartments in this place. We didn't get to go inside. We made a medical actually across the street. Someone said, hey, there's still some smoke coming out of the backyard. We went and took a look. Found out there's a trailer that looked like someone was living in. A metal building right here that looks like someone could be living in. There's a Connex container, I'm not sure what was in it, and an art studio, of all things. And then the back of the house had an addition on that where somebody could be living in, actually living in. This is in our territory. It's something we could be going to. I should be knowing what's in my territory. If we happen to be driving down the street and I see something, stop! Go in and take a look at it. Or, well, you obviously can't force your way inside, but get out, talk about it with the guys on the engine, talk about it with the guys on the truck. Hey man, how are we stressing this? Where are we going to put the ladder? Are we having any issues with that? Speaking of ladders, found this in my territory. I don't know what the heck it is. It looks like it could be a garage or a shop with some apartments on top. Haven't been inside. These are the owners. Alright? We'll call this, for the sake of the class, the A side of the building. One thing I think is interesting is there's a 3-car garage, obviously. Okay, offset windows, which are telling me what? It would be a stairwell, right? Well, what about these? Another stairwell? Are they connected? I have no idea. I'm going to go ahead and say no, but I don't know. I haven't been in there, I have no idea. Stop and take a look. Man, I'm not sure. On the, if we call the back side there, the Charlie side, so around over here, there's maybe 1 window on that entire side of the building, which is the best access for a ladder. I guess we could get a ladder in here. We're not getting a stick up here. And there's 3 windows on this side, which, unless you cut that tree down, you're not getting to either. So you could probably put some ground ladders up here as well. But things to talk about. Hey, is these things, this is in our district, is it going to cause us some problems? The first time we make a fire in this place, hopefully, because it's an odd building, we've already thought about this is how we're going to be successful. Just might say, hey man, how are you going to stretch? Like, I don't know. Fire's up there. I still don't know. I need to go inside and look. You know what I mean? Maybe we can go talk to the owner and see if we can't get in. We haven't been able to yet, but it's an opportunity. Again, easy training you can do with your crew. When you tell people, hey, we're going to go train, and the old slug that's been around for 25 years, which, by the way, they all have something to give. I don't want to go train. They're assuming that we got to go train for 6 hours. We got to put a bunch of canvas on the ground, which is heaven to me, but at the same time, maybe we can just go out and talk about these things. Those old timers might have very good what for, how to win in this building. I don't know, but it's easy training. How's this one? Okay, again, Tennessee's territory. It's interesting driving by a real narrow street. It's on kind of a loop, right? Main street, loop comes around like this. Real narrow, first in engine comes in. If the truck comes in this way, they're screwed. If the backup engine comes in this way, the truck's not setting up in front. Now granted, this is maybe 1,000 square feet, shotgun shack attached home. I think this is a shed that someone built that someone's living in. And obviously there's some issues in the front yard. But again, just like that first fire I showed you, if this is in the front yard and obviously seemingly all around the house, I can only imagine, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to whoever owns this home, I can only imagine what the inside of that place is. And even with this, I think there's somebody living in there, or it's a livable space. Now again, if we pull this way, there's a bit of a goat trail. Can't really tell. And now with the rain, this was taken 2-3 months ago. It was like that. Now with the rain, it's quite a bit worse. But if we pull this way, it's going to be a little bit harder on the knee, just a little bit more nosy going. And even some people might, so we use 3-inch and 2-inch bundles instead of inch. There's probably some people who would say, man, we're going bundle on this. I'm not sure. This one, just opportunistic training. Happened to make a medical call in here. Walk up the driveway. I'd never been there before, so I'm just following the crew like a big dummy. Following them up here, go around this truck here. There's a detached garage here. Go in the side into the kitchen in this way. Patients in the kitchen we're talking to, there's like 6 people standing out front. Who are these people? Talk to that guy. There's a door that opens up off the kitchen and peeks his head out and shuts it back. That's weird. I walked around, So let's just say, had I never been here, 3 o'clock in the morning, the place is burning, my crew had never been here, and fire's coming out of that window. I'm probably, oh look, there's the front door, probably pretty easy access. I'm gonna go over here, open the front door, and I can't open the front door because there are 8 people living inside what is the living room. There's another 2 or 3 bedrooms off the kitchen, and then several more back here. This is an addition, I believe. Over here is a detached garage, and it also has a crap ton of people living in it. Again, just something to talk about. There are lots of rescues to be made on this fire, and sometimes people say, I can't believe that place is never burned. It's obviously a halfway out, but it's not ever burning because somebody is always home. But it's an issue. And we walked in, this first time I walked by around, I'm like, hey, did you guys? Yeah, it's halfway house, and they talked about it. And we went through, hey, what are we going to do? Obviously, their main egress is in and out of the kitchen. Well, that probably needs to be ours as well. Okay? So it's the same thing in the garage. There's a door just on the other side of the truck. Anyway, just things we can talk about, right? Beanery table, C shift at 17s or the Italian floor seems to make a crap ton of fire. Why the fire gods wrote them, I don't know. But this picture is nothing special. I took it because we went out and we walked the fire that they had made. Really difficult fire. There's 2 doors, 2 sliding doors that they thought they were going to get open just by cutting down and sliding them open, which come to find out, whatever was on the inside wasn't going to let them do it. Like, those doors hadn't been opened in years. Now, I'm not saying that we should know that, but it's good to go out and look and see what was out in our district, or what is out in our district that hasn't burned out. Most of the pillars for this place, can't tell here, I mean, this back spot that hadn't really burned yet, big I-beams, like big steel I-beams in the corners. They come up, they went in about 8 feet on either side, and then it was open web bar joists, right, just welded to them. It's kind of ridiculous, but I think that's exactly what happened here. Now, I'm not saying it didn't get hot, but I-beams, open web bar joists all the way down the middle. It didn't quite make sense to me, but they're all welded together, and that's just another thing. But it's good to talk to them and hear their story, and what they saw, and what they did, and then go out and look and gain some experience that way. Some of the best experience we can get is around the coffee table. Hopefully you're going to miss this. This picture here, you can actually watch this video. I'm actually somewhat stealing it from Mark Bonhoffen if you've taken this class or heard him speak. Some of the best lessons I've learned are actually sitting around having a cup of coffee. Is it lighting? Oh, yeah. So some of the best lessons I've learned are sitting around the coffee table, listening to some of the old timers talk about, man, when I did this, or when I saw this, this is what I did. Well, this one here reiterated that for me. So a couple years before this video, you can look it up, Sac City, truck tan, roof collapse, something like that. The guys were sitting around the coffee table, I think, and they were talking. The guys, all he said was, man, they were talking about bending the roof, and he said, man, if you ever feel your stomach in your throat, you run. Well, fast forward a few years, that same guy he was talking to is now in charge of this truck company. They're running around up on the roof trying to cut. Happens to be a roof over. They're having a hell of a time. Obviously, you see a lot of smoke. Next thing you know, you can see in the video, it's not the greatest quality. That's about the quality of the video. You see everything kind of sink a little bit. His head comes up, and everybody takes off running and saved the entire life of I think there was 4 guys on the roof. There might be one guy in the picture. That's cool, right? We need to be sitting around. We need to ask questions. Say, hey, man, what did you do back in your day, or whatever? I ran this call the other day, didn't go so well. What do you think about it? Or pick their brain. Every time an old timer talks, it's probably listen. Line-ended coffee. Okay, so continuous and ongoing training, right? So, ask yourselves. Like, I fancy myself an okay fireman, average at best, but there's stuff that I need to go out and do over and over and over again. And I need somebody watching me to tell me, hey man, yeah, you're doing good, or you did it right, or hey, let's go out and train with the rookie, or let's go stretch some hose, or move some corners, or throw some ladders. You need to be doing it all the time. And revisit skills. I think a lot of times we get stuck. Is it raining on you? Sometimes I think we get stuck in a rut, we get stuck in a system where we do the same things over, or we think, hey man, I'm good at this, or hey, I got that. Or, we keep doing things the same way. How many of you drive the same way to your firehouse every time you go to work? I know I do. Mostly because it's real easy access. I'm 2 minutes from the freeway at my house, 2 minutes from the freeway at the fire station. Not too many better ways to get there. But right? We're creatures of habit. How about at the dinner table? Who sits at the same seat when you eat and sit down to have a meal? I do. Not for any particular reason. It's not a bad thing. But maybe if I sat at a different seat, I might take part in a different conversation. Now, granted, there's 8 to 10 people that I work with. Okay? If there was only 4, maybe I might move around a little bit more. But if I took a different way to work, maybe I drive a little bit of territory, I might see them building that building that looks really crazy. There's Gabriel and Jimmy works in Camden, New Jersey. He was talking about how I'm sure you guys have seen this in books or videos or classes or whatever, but they literally were putting this building together with cranes. It looked like what would be the interior of a Conex container, and they were just putting them up. I mean, it was like Legos, and then by the time they put it up, they put the siding up, and it was the inside of a building. I don't know how they did it, but it was ridiculous. But he didn't even know they were doing it until one day he just happened to be driving around. And that's what they saw, and they got out and they talked to the guys and they took pictures. But anyway, so just food for thought. So we are getting really dang close to the end. But I think one of the biggest things that we can talk about is how we make decisions, right? All of us need to be able to think, and our officers need to teach us to think. OODA loop, John Boyd, who's a colonel in the United States Air Force, and some people might even say that he was one of the best military strategists that's ever been. There's not a whole lot written about him. He didn't necessarily write this down, but he's given credit for coming up with it. It's observe, orient, decide, and act. I think there is no better way to come up with a way for an officer to give a 360 size up. Maybe not necessarily what they're going to say, but what's going through their brain. But what about the driver? Can he also not follow that same thing? This is what I got, this is where it's going, this is what I want to do, so on and so forth. How about the tailboard? There's my fire, there's my building, there's how I'm going to get there, there's my access, this is how I'm going to stretch my hose. There's my building, there's my window, that's how I'm going to put my ladder. Same thing, right? If I look at a patient from across the room and say, man, that person's going to die, that's what I have, that's where it's going, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it. We should be able to do the same thing on every fire. So I'm going to fast forward through all this. It's not that big a deal. I'll stop here. And no disrespect to anybody that's ever been in a tragedy or died in a tragedy or knows somebody that has been. But everything we go to, we should be prepared for that. So that OODA loop, we should be prepared for that big fire, the one you saw blown out of the garage. Okay, the car is, we should be prepared to think outside the box. But the biggest thing is, and many people say it, Andy Furter says, the garbage man doesn't get excited when he turns the corner and sees the street full of full garbage cans. Yes. And he doesn't because that's his job. And maybe it doesn't correlate to us, but when we see fire, we should be like, cool, man, I'm going to work today. Not because we've seen so many fires, but because I need you to be calm. I need your heart rate to be low. I don't work with you, but I need you to do that. Okay? And that same thing, the OODA loop. We show up and we think we're going to be stretching a line, and next thing you know, fire's blowing out of one side and a parent's going in a window, and I got to change my plan. Every fire I go to, whether pulling a line or not, I have to expect rescue, fire, and everything else in between. Yeah, this is where we learn, but this is where we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. I fuck a lot of things up, I'm not going to lie, okay? Whether it be driving territory, whether it be pulling line, throwing ladders, whatever, I've messed a lot of things up in my day. If you go to a fire, and I'm not saying they did anything wrong here, this just happened to be a picture of it after the fire was out. Hey man, how did that go for you? How did that go for your crew? How did that go for them? How did you do? Was it good? Was it not? Man, here's the deal. We also need to be brutally honest with other people. If I see Brad and be like, dude, you guys could have, what's up? Like I saw you guys kind of fumble fucking around or whatever, not to pick on Brad or whatever. That's where we need to be brutally honest with us. Finally, as we're getting here really close to the end, what does tempo look like? What does it look like for you guys? Right? These are two of our probies, and that's my senior guy, Ryan. Okay, I can't explain how much information I'm taking from you. But he takes the guys out and he says, hey man, we're going to go stretch some line, but I'm not going to tell you what line, and you're not going to know until you hear it on the radio. We're assuming that the firehouse is a commercial strip center. He says, hey, I'm going to give you a size up, and I want you to decide what line to pull. How cool is that? Now, my boss is probably going to tell him when they get to a real fire what line to pull. But he's telling him in training, hey, I need you to be able to think. And I can't remember what size he gave him, and he pulled a 2.5, maybe because we've been talking about 2.5 all day. But he grabs the 2.5. Hey man, good for you. Over here, he's talking to this program. He says, hey, we show up in a 3-story apartment complex. Victims on the balcony screaming, fires burning behind them. How are you going to get them out? Trucks delayed. It took us 10 minutes to come up with this, but he made him think his way through. He made him say, hey, awesome. How about we pull that engine out? Can we put a ladder on top of the engine? He's never seen it before. Can we use the engine to put that up? Yeah, absolutely we can do that. Let's do that. If we're thinking outside the box, let's come to that. Awesome. How about this? One thing I thought was cool, this is right behind Station 14 in Austin. 3 of the people on this crew walk in this building don't work on that crew. But they said, hey, let's bounce ideas off these guys. They were asking, Kitaro here, who works downtown. Hey man, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they asked me stuff, and I was like, man, I don't know much about highways. But it was cool because not only were these guys bonding while walking a building, when they're talking about this stretch or this rescue or that rescue, but they were getting everybody involved. The officer doesn't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but he has to be smart enough to know that his guys or gals know what they're doing or have some good ideas. And again, we're almost there. How about this? I think, we talked about the beanery table and having a meal, and I was saying, breaking bread together, whether it's your fire family, this is us in Engine 11, and this is all our families around the holidays. No more important time to get to know the people that you work with, that you're going to run calls with. Whether they neighbor your firehouse, whether they neighbor your district, they might work in a different department. But there's no better time to start generating tempo than breaking bread together. Because, hey, if I know something about you guys and I know how you operate, hey, maybe I know what you're going to do the next fire you get to. Even though policy says this, maybe I know exactly what line Kyle's going to play. Or I'm going to know what their crew's going to, how they operate. Get together with them. Have fun. Go play some basketball. Just don't tell your chiefs because they probably won't let you. So I'll finish up with getting on a soapbox. Just a couple of slides here. So I think this is a good goal, and it came out several years ago. And people were saying everyone goes home, everyone goes home. And I remember going and sitting in the firehouses in Bryan after you guys died, and it was on bumper stickers all over the firehouse. And I felt sick to my stomach. And I'm not trying to knock them or talking. I just think it's a really good goal, but it's not a reality. I didn't sign up for this job. I didn't sign up to come up here and talk today because, hey man, I'm going to go home and I'm going to see my fiance later. It's not my job. My job is to go to work and do the damnedest I can for those that need me when they need me. I know I'm preaching to the choir because you are all here. You're all 1%ers or 10%ers or whatever percenters that they're calling them nowadays. But the reality is, profession is that fire's not really taking us. Okay, it's psych stuff. You got more firefighters taking their own lives than fires are taking their lives. That's tragic. Start listening to your brothers and sisters. Start knowing what's going on around. And obviously medical, we know heart attacks is a big one. Okay? But maybe we should start getting in our bunker gear a couple times a week. Nothing big, right? Put it on. Go do a 10-minute circuit and take it off. Get used to being in that stuff. So in 20 or 30 years, when you are the old that guy, which I plan to be, maybe I'm a little bit more used to having that gear on. I'm a little bit more used to my body having it. And just, what's your why? Everybody in these pictures, some of them are old, but everybody in these pictures have touched my life somehow, some way over the years. Whether it's family, people I've worked with back home, my fiance, Captain, and one of my best friends. These are all reasons for me to go to work and have the passion that I do. Those are all reasons for me to go to work and ask questions. They're all reasons for me to try my ass off to get me and my crew home. That's just me. So lastly, Ryan Parrott. If you haven't read his book, Sons of the Flag, it's a really good book. But in there he talks about a quote. He's a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, and there he talked about some of his training. And they were up in Kodiak, Alaska, of all places, and they were doing some like rewarming drills or something. And they had this whole time that was their instructor. He was getting in the water with the crappy gear that they were using, getting out and talking to them. He didn't have to do that. At his time, he had earned the right to be in completely dry gear, not getting in the water with them. But he did it all with them for a purpose, to let them know that, hey, look, I got your back, but I need you to have my back. I'm here with you. I'm going to do this with you. Okay? But fast forward that to what we do. And some of it in training, some of it's like this. This is in San Diego. Two guys hopped off an engine to go to what they thought was a fire. Driveway saying, my babies, my babies, my babies, my babies. And they see the uncle trying to get in a window, right? Trying to spray water with a garden hose. So they start hightailing. One's hightailing to go get in the window. One's stretching a line right behind him. They go into VES. One guy goes in the window, feels the first kid up top, hard and crispy. That one's done. Feels down below, hears a little bit of a moan, goes down below, feels one moaning, yards that one out the window. Goes back to find the other one, can't find it. Now goes to find the door, which if you follow VEIS, if you have to follow the I, doesn't necessarily have to happen then, but get it as done as fast as you can. And the guy will tell you that. Well, he went back to close the door, searched out in the hallway, door's burned off, couldn't do it. Gets back in, it's getting really hot by this point. What had happened was they had a heater in the hallway that they were using to heat the stuff. Somehow, when the father saw that there was a fire, went out and was breaking every window out in the front. Neighbor saw that there was a fire, went over and breaking every window out in the back, which actually could have been a saving grace, because now everything's blowing this way instead of out the one window where all the kids were. He went out the window. His partner came in the window, gave it a quick search. They actually found the other kid, got him out. Those two kids are still alive. It's pretty incredible, right? When one kid dies, two kids come out, from people having to call an audible in the front yard because that's what their boss wanted, and more importantly, that's what everybody watching from the sideline wanted them to do. Okay, another fire in Denver, Colorado. You guys might have read about it. Guys go in, second or third story apartment building, light smoke showing up. They go in, still a little bit of light smoke. At some point, a window breaks out. All of a sudden, smoke is to the floor, and fire is, as they say, all around them. At this point, a victim emerges from one of the bedrooms and goes out on the balcony where one of the windows to the door has busted out. They go out there, and while they're still setting the stick, this guy essentially is going to get burned. And they shield him from the fire, completely torching their gear. They got first and second degree burns. The victim got first degree burns, I think a little bit of second degree, got him down alive. Okay? We all want to be firefighters on a sunny day. Okay? The parades are awesome. Giving little kids stickers is great, but those are hard days. And I'm telling you that it's going to be really hard to make those decisions and do those things and do those acts without wrapping your brain around them with you, your crew, and everybody else that you come in contact with at work. When it comes to I've done a lot of preaching. I haven't done a whole lot of interacting, and I apologize. I was trying to beat the weather. I think I did okay. The last one's for y'all. I really appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully I didn't put y'all to sleep. But nonetheless, I mean, obviously most of us are going to hang out and have some adult beverages or whatever. But like I said, I really appreciate just y'all being here. If anybody's interested in the F.O.O.L.S and what we got going on, we'd love to talk to you about it. We have t-shirts for sale. If you sign up for, get a membership, you get one for free. That's all I got. That's it.